Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all had an amazing day. Welcome to welcome to the June edition of our Agrifunding Workshop Series. As usual, we have something fresh for you today. Today, we'll be discussing the issue that many of us face in accessing bank funded opportunities. A lot of us go to the bank, we want credit for our business, and we can't afford it. We can't access these opportunities. Why? What are our limitations? We will learn about all of that today and see how we can package our businesses better to access these bank funding opportunities. So pay attention and as much as possible, connect on the chat box. Let us know you meet other persons, other businesses like yourselves. Take notes, very important. Have your notepad, have your pen, and take notes of everything you'll be learning today. But before I proceed, let me just take you through, let me prepare your mind about what you would expect. Next slide, please. Now we have, as if you are a repeat participant, you would know that we have translators, we have French interpreters on the call. But if you are just joining us, this is for you. We have a French interpreter and you can join the French room. If you log into this meeting on Zoom and mute your audio as you enter, click the interpretation button, the fourth from the right, and select your preferred language. You will hear the translated audio and the original audio at a lower volume to better understand the tone and intonation of the original speaker. If you wish not to hear the original speaker, click mute original audio to hear only the interpreter. Note that you need to join this meeting via your computer audio, or you need to download the Zoom app on your phone. If you are joining us using your phone, then you need to do that on your Zoom app to participate and enjoy the French feature. I don't know how many French participants we have online today. If you are French, let us know if you are French speaking on the chat box so that our French speakers can reach out to you. But you know what to do. Just join the interpretation room. You will see that interpretation sign on your screen. Click on it, join the French, and you will hear everything I'm saying in the French language. On your screen right now is the agenda for today. We have the welcome and introduction. We'll run a quick poll. We'll learn about AFC, African Food Changemakers, especially those that are joining us for the first time. And then a very brief membership drive so you know that we have a community, and we'll show you how you can join our community. And then we'll know who our facilitator is and learn about the topic for today. We'll dive into the workshop session immediately, and after that, we'll have question and answers. So you see why you need to take notes. Pay attention, take notes so that you can have questions to ask our facilitator today. After that, we'll have the virtual group photograph, and then we'll introduce you to the next session we'll have next month, and then we'll close and bid ourselves farewell. Networking o'clock. So like I always say, whenever you come for events like this, it's an opportunity to connect. So I'll begin with myself. My name is Ebere Oko, the membership coordinator at the African Food Changemakers, and I'm happy to meet you all. Please just go to the chat box, tell us your name, your business name, the product or service you offer, and your location. So when I say location, I'm talking about your state, your country. Where are you based? You may just find somebody on the chat box that lives in your vicinity and can do business with you. So quickly go onto the chat box and write there your name and where you are joining us from. I can see now we're from Zambia. You're welcome. I can see Musa from Nigeria. You're welcome. So just keep dropping that, drop your introduction. Adamu from Nigeria, our own Nigeria, you're welcome. Pauline from Malawi, you're welcome. Anas, Nigeria, here, you're welcome. Jonathan, you're saying you can't hear me. I hope you can hear me now. Could be your network. So I welcome every one of you for joining. Thank you for joining us today. I can assure you that you will have a good time. Now a poll will come up on your screen. Please take time to fill this poll. Team members, please put up the poll. There are only 5 questions, and these questions are necessary for you to answer to guide a facilitator on where he would need to focus his topic on today. We need to understand your knowledge strength on today's topic. We need to know what you already know and what you would like to learn from today's topic. So take time to fill this poll. I'm expecting to see everybody here fill this poll. The first question is, have you ever applied for a loan or credit facility to finance your agribusiness? Answer us. Let us know if you are a customer, if you've ever applied for any loan from a bank. The second question is, in your opinion, what is the biggest barrier preventing African agribusinesses from accessing bank loans? Is it high interest rates? Is that the issue? Is it lack of collateral? Is it complex application process? Is the application process for these loans and opportunities complex? Poor financial documentation. Let us know what your struggles have been so far. Which one of these bank-funded solutions have you heard or explored before? You have the agricultural credit guarantee schemes. Good, I can see people who have explored the agri credit guarantee schemes, anchor borrower programs, bank overdrafts, asset financing for equipment. Okay, that's good. I want to see everybody on this call feeling this. It would really help us have a very impactful session today. How confident are you in preparing the necessary documentation for a bank loan application? Okay, I can see a lot of people say very confident. Oh, others are saying fairly confident. Just keep sending, keep replying. As you see this poll on your screen, just keep responding to the poll. What do you think is the most important factor banks look out for before funding an agribusiness? Size of the farm or your business? What is important to these banks? Is it the type of crops or products that you sell? Bank statements. I can see majority putting bank statements. You must really have experience in this. Location of the agribusiness. Personal connections to bank staff. Okay. So far, we have 21 responses, and I'm hoping that we'll get up to 50 responses. So if you are listening to me and you are hearing my voice now, and you are seeing this poll on your screen, please answer them. I am waiting for you. Just take your time to answer. They are just 5 questions. We just want to know where you are at and to help us and the facilitator to know how to direct his conversations or his discussion today. We have 29 responses already. Let the responses come. Let them keep coming. I'm targeting 50 and I know we can get 50. We have 31 already. Who are you that have not filled this? Please begin to fill. It's not much. Just 5 questions. 5 questions. When we get to 50, we move on immediately. 5 questions and we move on. We're going. We have 32 already. 32 responses. Can we get 35? Can we get 35? Can we get 35 responses? Where are our change makers, our entrepreneurs? Tell us about your experience so far with accessing bank loans, bank credits. Tell us your experience. Just use this survey to tell us your experience so far with accessing bank loans. We have 35 responses again. So now we are pushing to 40. I'm pushing to 40. Can I have 40 responses? So we'll move on. Can I have 40 responses? So we'll move on. 36, thank you. Can I have 40? Can I have 40 responses? Can I have 40 responses? 37, we're moving. If you have not filled this survey, please just begin to fill. It's just on your screen. You don't need to do anything. Just fill it and let's review it together. We have 37 responses. Let's see if we can get 40, 38 responses already. Let's keep pushing and pushing for 40. Someone is saying you can't access the the survey. It's right there on your screen. The survey is right there on your screen. Please just fill it, just fill it, just fill it, just fill it. We have 39 responses already. Should I push to 50? Would I be pushing too much? Okay, so let's go, let's go. We have 39 responses already, 39 responses already. I was expecting 40. Why am I saying 39 here? Where is that one person to help us move on with today's session? We need one more person, one more person. 40 responses. Should I push for 45? Should I push for 45? 41 already, so we can get 45. Let's push for 45 and then we'll move. 45 responses. Can we get 45 responses? Can we get 45 responses? As you join us, we have the poll up. Once you join this session, you have the poll up. Just help us and respond to this poll. We have 42 responses already. 3 more and we proceed. 3 more and we proceed. Don't worry, after this, I won't push for that. 3 more and we'll proceed. We have 42 responses already. Can we get 45? 43 now, 43 now. So 2 more to go, 2 more to go. 45 responses. Okay. Thank you so much for responding to this survey. Now let us go through this survey together. Okay, I'm seeing 46 already. Good. Now let us analyze what our responses. So we see that 15% of the 46 persons that responded to this survey have applied for loan. 54% have never applied for loans, but they are considering it. And 11% have never applied for loan as well. 20% has applied but was denied. Okay. We will learn today why such loans were denied. We have a banker in the house to tell us why what we have been doing wrong, so that we can do better to access these loans. In your opinion, what is the biggest barrier preventing African agribusinesses from accessing bank loans? High interest rates, 17%, 20% is lack of collateral, 11% complex application process, and 7% poor financial documentation. The third one, we have 30% of the respondents have accessed agricultural credit guarantee schemes. 30% have accessed anchor borrower programs, or they know about it. 17% know about the bank overdraft and or working capital loans. 22% are aware about the asset financing for equipment. And then the final question, the fourth question is, how confident are you in preparing the necessary documentation for a bank loan application? 39% very confident. Well done. I'm hoping that the rest of us will learn from you today. 41% are fairly confident. 9% not confident. Don't worry, we'll build your confidence today. 11% they are not sure what documents are required. You will learn about that today. What do you think is the most important factors banks look at before funding an agribusiness? 9% of them believe the size of the farm or business is important. 7% believes that type of crops or products is important. 74% believe that what's most important is the bank statement and cash flow history of the business. 4% believe that location of the agribusiness is important to the bank. And 7% is saying personal connections with bank staff. I don't know, I can't speak to that, but our facilitator is an expert. He will take us through all of this. Thank you so much for participating in this poll. African Food Changemakers is the organizer of today's event. In fact, the AFC Agrifunding Series began in February and it's been organized, it's been coordinated by the African Food Changemakers. And I'll tell you briefly about who we are so that we can proceed to the essence of today's gathering. We are a non-profit organization committed to helping African entrepreneurs like yourselves scale resilient and sustainable agribusinesses that feed Africa and the world by providing training, access to funding opportunities, exposure. When I say exposure, I mean brand visibility, trade linkages, and fostering a vibrant community of change makers. AFC seeks to close that knowledge gap that exists among African agripreneurs, African entrepreneurs generally. AFC seeks to project African entrepreneurs, African agripreneurs to the global markets. We need everybody around the world to know what African agripreneurs are doing. And we have three flagship trainings. We have the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks that provides you with the skill, knowledge, tools, and every other information that you need to scale your business regardless of any form of climate shock or environmental shock. So whatever is happening in the climate, in the environment, your business is still standing. You know how to make sure that your business yields right as desired, your business sells well, your products are well stored, you farm well, you use the right soil, you use the right processes. A lot of climate smart principles and strategies that will be shared if you participate in our brace program. We have the Leading African Women in Food Fellowship that seeks to amplify the voices of women doing great things in the agri-food sector in Africa. And we share, it's also a training program that tries to build your capacity for speaking, networking, doing business better, branding, and so on. We just want our women in Africa to be heard across the world. We have the Scaling Export program as well. As the name implies, we want you to scale your business from your local markets to a global market. We want you to begin to play in the global market. So we have this training that will teach you how to access export opportunities, how to scale your export operations, the kind of documentations you need, the kind of network you need, the kind of connections you need, the kind of events you need to attend. You will learn all of that if you partake in that program. We have the changing narrative. So if you know that our tagline as African Food Changemakers is changing global narratives. We want to change the perception about the world, of the perception of the world about African agri-food ecosystem. We want the world to begin to respect us. We want the world to begin to recognize us and recognize the impact we are making in the global industry. I mean, we have Africans who are making coffee, who are making chocolates, who are making wines, but we still have to, import all of these things from the Western world. But it is time for African food to become on global shelves. And that is what the changing narrative is doing. We try as much as possible to project, spotlight, showcase African food, across the globe. And finally, we have a vibrant community of agri-food change makers. After all of this training, we don't let you go. You join the community. Whether you've gone through our trainings or not, you join our community. To interest you to know that we have over 7,600 members in our community. And these members are agripreneurs from 49 countries in Africa. And in this community, these agripreneurs connect. These agripreneurs do businesses together. They transact several millions of dollars worth of businesses within that community. So you can imagine the opportunities that are there if you join our community. I want to welcome now my colleague, the membership officer. He will speak better about our community and how you can join. And on this note, I welcome Sylvester. Sylvester will come online now and tell us something about our membership community and why you need to join and how you can join us. It is completely free. Sylvester, you have the floor. Over to you, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Ebere. A very warm welcome to everyone on this session today. And just as you have heard, we We are okay. Sorry about that. Okay, just like you've heard from Iberi, African Food Changemakers, we are all about uh, providing opportunities to agri SMEs to scale up their business. And from the slide, you can see a list of the opportunities we provide. First off, we provide strengths and we help scale up your business. We prepare your business to enter the new African and global market. We facilitate access to funding, speaking, and exhibition opportunities. We also have a vibrant community of members from across the world. And you also get to have access to our resource hub and our marketplace. And the resource hub is a place where we upload different resources ranging from data, events, funding opportunities, and trainings and workshops that you can attend to help scale up your business. And the marketplace is, as it implies, the marketplace is also a place where we have our members display their products, where you can come in, you buy and sell your products to anyone from across the world. And we also enhance the visibility and promote media engagement of selected agribusiness owners. We do that by spotlighting some of our members on our social media pages, the Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the rest of the other social media pages. And we also have access to exclusive networking events, and we also give you global market linkages. And some of the programs we do at AFC include our BRIS, LAF, Scaling Exports program, and there are lots more that you can gain from becoming our member. Okay, so very quickly, I'll take you through how to join the community. First off, you have to have internet on your system, either on your system or your phone, and you go further to visit our hub by clicking www.afchub.org, or you can follow the link that will be dropped in the chat box by my colleague. And once you're there, you can navigate to the join the community icon on your screen. It is there boldly in the center of the page. You just click on that and then it takes you to a drop down where you have to fill some questions, you answer them, and these questions, you are required to answer these questions correctly so as to help us streamline the kind of opportunities we'll be sending down to you. And once you're done answering these questions, you make sure to click the button, the submit button at the end of the page. Please make sure to click the submit button, because if you don't click the submit button, we will not receive your application. So don't forget to click the submit button when you're done. So upon submission, you will get a confirmation, a verification email that you have successfully registered to become our member. But your confirmation will take 24 to 48 hours before you be confirmed. And once you are confirmed, you would receive an email, and you can go further to log into the hub. So you just click on the login button again on the AFC hub. Click on the login button on the top right of your screen. It is there, login. So you log in with the email and the password that you used to create. So once that is done, you can access your dashboard and all the opportunities we have for you. So down to the three main criteria or the main things you need to own or have to become our member. So first off, you need to own or work as a top management for an agribusiness. You need to work or own an agribusiness, and that agribusiness must be in existence for at least 6 months. And lastly, you need to have a social media presence. We all know how social media is helping and boosting a lot of people these days. We have influencers, we have the content creators and all that. So you need to have a social media presence that will, push your business out there for you to be able to join our community. So these are the three main criteria you need to have before you can become a member of our community. So we're looking forward to having you and welcoming you, in as much as you can register even while you're on this session or before the speaker comes on. Just go to the website, click on afchub.org and begin your registration. It only takes a few minutes and you'll become our member. So thank you very much, and over to you, Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, Sylvester. So if you are not a member of the African Food Changemakers and you are into agric and food, join us today. The link is on the chat box. Quickly join us today so that you can take advantage of the opportunities on the hub. We can't exhaust it enough. We can't tell you everything, but I promise you that it is a lot. We share these opportunities every day. Don't sit down there and say nothing is happening, no funding anywhere, nothing, no opportunity, and no networking anywhere. It is happening in the African Food Chain Makers community. Join us today and enjoy all of it. Quickly to the essence of our gathering today, we have Eze Wakama, a seasoned finance professional with over 20 years of experience in banking, spanning operations, treasury, SME, commercial and agribusiness, export finance. This is the person who is going to answer all our questions today. Are we not privileged? He currently serves as the head of agribusiness and exports at the Union Bank, where he heads strategic financial solutions, agro processing projects, and export development initiatives. Eze has held senior roles at CNFA, NESAL, DPN Group, and Arila Business Management. He holds degrees in industrial biochemistry, project management, and diplomatic studies, and is certified in agribusiness management, Prince 2, and SME financing. Who is best to take us through today's program, today's topic, today's workshop? Somebody who is well grounded in the agric sector, in the finance sector. Let us welcome with a virtual applause Mr. Eze Wakama. Thank you so much for joining us today. And all of us, we all have our pen and paper with us. We are looking forward to learning from you, sir. You have the floor now.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, sir. You are very audible.
Okay. I hope you project the presentation. So, first of all, I can see that we have a wide audience span here. So, I would say Asante Sana. I saw some people from South Africa and East Africa here. Assalamu alaikum. I saw somebody from Mali. And bonjour for those that speak French. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Eze Wakama. I guess the introduction was very flowery. It's just me and me alone. So today we're going to talk about navigating bank-funded solutions for African agribusinesses. And I will have to tell you one basic assumption that I have made. And that basic assumption is that the financial service industry is the same no matter which part of the world you operate in. Now there might be some few tweaks, but the backbone is the same thing. So the kind of flesh it wears depends on the environment and the operating environment where it operates, but it does not deviate much from that. Let's go to the next slide. Agriculture is actually of interest, not just because it's a business, but I'm sure for those who are practitioners, who are business practitioners, we would have discovered that whatever solution you provide and that solution solves problems, then one struggle you will have to contend with is making sure you satisfy the needs for your product. Because one thing is certain, Nigeria, there are 200 million people. 200 million of us, 180 million must eat at least once a day. If you say the other 20 million are fasting, but 180 million must eat at least once a day, and that food they are eating has to be provided for. And that's where the essence of your business comes in. So, for a lot of African countries, agriculture is actually key because we are still predominantly agrarian. We have refused to move into the industrial revolution to grow what we are doing. But within the sphere where we operate, even the colonial masters still exploit us for the raw materials that we produce, which to a large extent is not the discussion for today, though, but it creates another business opportunity for practitioners in the sector. Over close to 30% of Nigeria's GDP. I'm using Nigeria as my base case study, but I know that in Africa generally is about 30% of GDP of African countries is contributed to by agriculture. And what we'll try to do today is just to look at the landscape of agribusiness financing, and then we'll look at the things that make businesses viable for funding. Next slide, please. I'm sure they can share these slides to you. I'm going to talk through them, so I'm not going to read them sequentially, but I will go there. Yeah, I will take it step by step just to guide our conversations. So I'm sure you're all aware of what is called the Malabo Convention, where the African countries agreed that 10% of statutory budgetary allocations of African countries will be dedicated to agriculture. The truth is that I think only a few countries in East Africa have been able to meet this requirement, but most other countries have not been able to meet this 10% statutory requirement funding for the agricultural sector Africa-wide. Nigeria last year and this year's budget is about rather 1.34% or so of the budget that is allocated to agriculture. So that gives you an idea why everybody is looking for self-help and this thing. So we also have different kinds of bank finances, like I've listed them out here. You have the commercial banks like the bank I work in, Union Bank. We have Access Bank that has spread in Africa. You have United Bank for Africa that is also widespread in Africa. You have Zenith. You have Equity Bank of Kenya. You have Commerce Bank, and I used to work in the Gambia. We have the other banks that exist in other places to serve the purpose. You also have the development financial institutions like the Bank of Agriculture. You have in Nigeria. You have the Ghana Agricultural Development Bank, which is just like the Bank of Agriculture. And I'm sure in other parts of Africa uh, where we have audience from today, you'll also agree with me that you also have development banks, either specifically focused for agriculture or targeting SMEs. And you know that 50% of SMEs, more than 50%, sorry, about 70% of small and medium enterprises have their root in agriculture too. You have the microfinance and rural credit. Yes, in East Africa, this is quite common. You have done it far better than we have done in Nigeria here, the rural credit and the microfinance model. And I know that a model like this operates in Morocco that has allowed the development of heavy funding for for the livestock industry and for the dairy sector. And then you also have interventions where you have value chain and trade finance. So you have aggregators, those that drive the aggregator model, where they aggregate farmers in a certain location and they try to fund them with inputs. And at the end of the day, they do an exchange where you bring in a part of your produce to pay off the cost of input, and then the rest you give them the first right of refusal to purchase. And then in new technology adoption now with the advent of AI and bots and models that help with credit rating and all that, the fintechs and alternative lenders have also come into the scene where they use algorithms to determine your credit worthiness, probably your telephone when they do analytics of your telephone usage, the credits you buy, and then the transfers you make and all that, they're able to come up with a limit that allows you get fund. Next slide, that allows you to get specific funding from them, and they can use that to track and track credits and avail credits to users. You also have intervention from government. So I've tried to list a few of the interventions from different governments. In Nigeria, we had the popular Ankoboro program. We have the commercial agricultural credit scheme. You have the NADF, National Agricultural Development Fund. You have AXMIS. Some of these programs have been suspended with respect to Nigeria, like the ABP, Ankoboro, and the Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme. Those have been suspended now, but NADF and AXMIS, they're available. AXMIS is administered by the NISA Microfinance, and NADF is National Agricultural Development Fund that is doing on lending through commercial banks that are partnering with them. You have in Ghana, for those of you in Ghana, you have this project, the Planting for Food and Jobs, and then the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. These are some of the GISAL. At some point, I worked in NISAL, and I know that we had relationship with GISAL. And then in Kenya, you also have the AgriFi Kenya Challenge and the Kenya Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program. These are all incentives that is spearheaded by government to make sure that food is available in Morocco too. Then you also have the venture capitalists. You also have the venture capitalists and the grants, the agencies that give grants, angel investors, international donors like USAID, GIZ, UNDP, MasterCard Foundation, AIFA International, Propcom 2, so many of these things. Just a moment, please, just a moment. Yeah, sorry for that. Sorry for that distraction. So, like I said, you also have the private investors, those that invest at the early stage and take equity in these businesses. So, some of us watch the Dragon. If you check on YouTube, you watch the Dragon, or you watch Lions Den, where business owners come to pitch for investment in their businesses. And for those where the people present, the angel investors, where they find your business ideas interesting, they buy a stake and they fund you for the development that you want. Then grants come, but you must be able to understand how to write for grants. And then whatever you're doing must have a tangential alignment with the focus of whatever grant you're looking for. So a lot of people here and within Africa, you know of the Tony Lumelu Foundation and Lagos Innovates. These are incubators and accelerators that allow you access funding to then mentorship and networking. I'm sure some have this idea that at some point people come together and then they bring out money and look for a business to invest in, and then good returns come, and they share the profit. Those are all alternative sources of funding businesses. I know that a lot of the grant agencies operate in Eastern Africa, because the model in East Africa is a lot more interesting to them, where you have people that are willing to pay what they are supposed to pay when they are supposed to pay, versus people that just take advantage and run away in other areas. Now, we also know that in financing by scale, uh, you could be in a sector where government is initiating a lot of things. So recently, the Nigerian government commissioned about 2,000 tractors brought in from Belarus. And you can see that this creates an opportunity for those who are in mechanization service provision. that government initiative in driving mechanization in Nigeria, those companies that are already existing and companies that have tangible plans of leveraging these tractors. I'm sure by if you present your pitch to Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, you will get a list, you will have a listening ear in them. So government funded initiatives like when the Anchor Borrower scheme started, large funding went to interest in rice, in maize, in soya. There were some options around with planting, but at some point it was streamlined to rice and maize because of the import of rice and maize in our national economy, just like it is in any other national economy. For the large enterprises, accessing commercial loans from banks is actually not difficult for them because they have an established market, they have processes, they have procedures, they have documented processes, they have records, they have financials that you can look at. When we did, when the survey was passed, a lot of people voted for bank statements. The bank statement is what actually speaks to the health of a business. It's actually what shows you what a business is doing, the kind of life in that business. So you see situations where people look at your statement and they ask, can I have 6 months? Can I have 1 year statement? Can I have 1 year statement? And then we look at the month-on-month analysis. So in agribusiness, you will understand that there are peak seasons and there are low seasons. The 1 year statement allows us to understand what you do during the peak season and what you do during the low season. And then what kind of payment structure are we going to put to make sure that you are not put under stress? I'll give you some examples as we go back, but I want to ask one question here. Maybe you can answer me in the chat box. How many of you have actually tried applying for a loan and it was declined? And then what was the reason for the decline? Just drop your answer in the chat box and I'll take them one by one. Then we'll have the SMEs. The SMEs actually face the biggest challenge in accessing finance, just like you and your businesses are. Your businesses face the biggest challenge in accessing finance. And I will not massage my words. I will tell you as it is. A lot of banks find it difficult to separate the individual promoter from the business. That's where you find that financial literacy is quite important, where you learn to separate your private financial dealings from the business dealing. A lot of businesses that are run by individuals, you cannot separate when the owner you cannot somebody talked about NISA loan. NISA loan was an intervention. That intervention was under the COVID era. The COVID era is over. For those who got, they are paying back now. So if you did not get, it was because the intervention is over. But if you go to any NISA microfinance today and you are looking for a loan, they are giving loans, but they are not intervention loans. They are giving loans according to their commercial listing. Okay. Then yeah, they said you're too risky because probably you did not supply the information that they got. And when you looked at the market analysis, the bank probably did not see how you will sell. Because in business, there are two things. One is ability to produce, the second is ability to sell. An ability to sell is also a function of what need are you fulfilling and the cost that you're selling. Are you able to cover your cost and return a profit? So if you're taking a loan, are you able to recover your cost, running cost as a business, and also your interest payment? I had a discussion this afternoon before this meeting, and while I was discussing with the young man, I discovered that because he has access to maybe a family warehouse and office and all that, those were not part of his calculations. And I told him that you're lucky you have this, but let's take this out of the equation. This, if you take this out of the equation, how are you able to factor where you use as your warehouse and your office? And he started looking at me. So the truth about it is that yes, it's a tedious process, like Charity has said, but the truth is that I would like you people, when you're talking about commercial loans, going to the bank to borrow money. Imagine when your friend comes to borrow money and you don't know what he wants to use the money for. Will you give him the money? That's the simplest way to analyze yourself before you start going to a bank to give money. Because the money in the bank as a building does not have money. It's the Mama Chukwudi that fries akara, the Mama Iliasu that does kunu, and the Mama Titi that does zobo and sells, saves money to pay school fees in September. But because we are in February, between February and September, we'll have close to 6 months. I can afford to give the money and give to Bamidele, who has commodity to buy now and pay back and charge him an interest. So by the time Bamidele is not able to pay me back, I have a problem. Because when Mama Chukwudi or Mama Titi comes for their money, I cannot tell them stories. So that's why it is tedious. That's why it has to be for people that know what they are doing and understand what they are doing. And like I said, the SMEs are the most difficult sector to fund because so many things come in here. When they want to charge you different taxes that make you, by the time you pay those taxes, your products are no longer competitive, and so many other things that you go with. Then the smallholder farmer is actually the worst as it is today. In Nigeria, I'm taking Nigeria for instance. The smallholder farmer is about the most unfinanceable entity, which is why what we advocate for smallholder farmers now is to work in cooperatives and work with aggregators. Aggregators, so I give you an instance. You have Afex, you have Babangona, you have Afex, you have Babangona. These are aggregating entities, and the aggregating entities put the smallholder farmers in cooperatives, and then these cooperatives have a leadership and the area where you are farming, because a farmer is predominantly a farmer. A real farmer is a farmer, not the portfolio farmers. A farmer is a farmer. If the farm does not do well this year, next year, he's still going to go back to the farm. He's not going to run away and become a banker like me the next year. He's going to still go back to the farm. So when you're dealing with real farmers and you have a leadership model around you, and then an authority that supports you. So let's say you're farming in an area, if I say in Niger State, in one area in Niger State, and the alchemy of that place knows the people because he knows his subjects and he's able to vouch for you. It makes it easier to fund, knowing that we can say that Iliasu, who says he has 3 hectares, everybody knows him in that community and they know that Iliasu and his family, they don't have 3 hectares. So in other words, he's not a commercial farmer, he's not a political farmer. He's a political farmer. So you deal with individuals. So that's how we can deal with those ones. So if we look at, like I'm saying, if we continue here, eligibility criteria, what is it that you need to have for you to be funded by a bank? There has to be a business plan. Everybody, a lot of businesses, a lot of small businesses start from, I think I can do this. Let me start doing this. Or my husband has money. I don't like staying at home. So let me start this business. But we don't take time to study the need we want to fulfill within the community where we want to operate our businesses. Most times, a lot of people say, somebody said that he was told he's a brownfield. If you're a brownfield, that means you can do greenfield is where it's difficult to operate. Brownfield means that you have some history that can be leveraged. I believe that for a brownfield, financing you should not be difficult. So, like I said, a business plan, a viable business plan is very key to success. Every bank will ask you for collateral. Let's not mince words about it. So a lot of people will say, why can't the bank take a share in my business and finance me? No. Any bank that takes a share in your business will be sanctioned by the regulator, the central bank in that country. The banks are only allowed to take interest. They are not supposed to be shareholders that will wait for shareholding. So banks that want to do shareholding now, you find them banks that, so you in First Bank, you have First Bank Holdco, the holding company. So in that holding company entity, you have businesses that are venture capitalists that can invest in your business, and that's their model. They can get interest, and at the end of the day, they can get what do you call it? Dividend, and at the end of the day, that is consolidated. But technically, every business that goes for funding, every business that goes to bank for funding is interest you're going to pay, and then collateral. They are the 5 C's of credit, which I know everybody is aware here. And collateral is one of the 5 C's. But after the 5 C's, we even moved it to 7 C's, included capacity and capability as part of what is critical. Your ability to demonstrate experience in what you do is key. So at times, I ask questions and I discover that those questions have not been taken care of. My questions will be in the line of, so in a value chain, what is the input into your business where you process? And what is the output in your business? And the output in your business, hold on 1 minute. Hi, I can see you. No, well done. Okay. So,
Sorry, excuse me, sir. Hello, sir.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just coming back to let you know that we'll have just about 10 to 15 minutes
Okay, no
so
problem. I'll
that
just
to
round
round
up.
up so that people
I'm
can
almost,
ask
I'm
their
almost,
questions. Yes.
yes, I'm almost rounding up. So, like I said,
Oh, fantastic. Thank you,
part
sir.
of the things, collateral is key. You must demonstrate experience, and you must also align your priority value chains to show that you, on your own, you have taken care of risk mitigation. So, priority value chains: who is supplying to me? Who am I selling to? This is key because I must understand your market. If you process and there's no market, work done is equal to zero. You understand? So at that point, you will discover that if work done is equal to zero, that loan is endangered. And then all done consultancy is not too expensive. So most times you don't need to hire an accountant. You can actually get somebody that comes to do your bookkeeping. Go to the next slide. You can get someone that comes to do your bookkeeping, once in a while to correct the things happening. So, like I said, a lot of the things, these are regular things. Formalize your business, register with CAC, obtain your TIN and licenses, open a corporate banking account, develop a bankable business plan, dimension your market, your target market, and all that. Those things are very, very key, and you have to look at them. Next slide, please, since we don't have time, so that we can leave time for some questions. Next slide, please. Okay, so build financial credibility. I shouldn't ask you for your records in the last 6 months, and I will not see it. That will really help in solving the problem. One of the barriers is the high risk. High risk, I can mitigate high risk. NISAL is there to help in adding, hedging you in terms of collateral, where there are collateral limitations. The high perceived risk of your businesses, we can use guarantees to safeguard that, but we can also use the value chain linkages to solve that problem. Information asymmetry. The typical thing that happens is that at the point Mr. A is asking for credit, I can reach him on the phone. When he gets the credit and I call Mr. A, his PA picks up and tells me he's in a meeting. That information asymmetry is one of the major reasons why SMEs don't get funded. The high interest rate. So I told you about NADF, National Agricultural Development Fund. As of today in Nigeria, National NADF with their partner banks are lending at 17.5%. That's going to help. And then the infrastructure deficit, most places you need to do your power, you need to do your road and all that. These are all additional costs that you carry and all that. So all these, go to the next slide, the middle gap, the bridge by impact investors. So a lot of impact investors come in and they try to help, but we are constrained by as much as what we can see. Is this the last slide? Okay, so these are the things we do in Union Bank. Effectively, I guess these slides will be shared so that you can get it. But what we are doing now is actively working with Nexim, Bank of Industry, we have a relationship with Bank of Agri, National Agricultural Development Fund, DBN, and NISAL to try to reduce the impact of interest rate. For risk mitigation, like I said, you must be the first risk manager of your business. And we also have some emphasis on women and youth and national food security goals. Those are part of the things that we focus in Union Bank. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, there's a shift happening in Africa. A lot of the younger generation are much more adventurous than us. And then our duty is to encourage and guide. And wherever for me, I'm always available to help and guide in doing this. And other entities are also helping Africa to solve its problem, because the more African problem is solved, the better for us, the Africa will be. Yeah? Okay. Okay. The better Africa will be, and a lot easier. I think we can share this. These are just part of things that had happened in so many places to show that it's possible for us to have solutions. I've shared my contact details for those that want to reach out, and I think I'll take questions here.
Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule to be with us this afternoon. We don't take that for granted. So we'll have questions. I want to see hands up. If you have questions for Mr. Eze, I would like to see your hands up, and I'll call you to unmute and ask your questions. Remember, so that other persons can ask, keep your questions precise, straight to the point. Don't explain. Don't explain. Straight to the point, so that to give time for others to ask their questions. Please let us all be considerate. So, Joshua Ishola, unmute and ask your question.
Okay, so thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for such insightful presentation. So my question is just straightforward: that do we have some specific financial products, that are actually tailored to youth and women owned agribusinesses? I'm talking about youth and women, inclusion now. So are there some financial products that are actually tailored, for youths and women agribusinesses? Is it possible that they can actually access such financial products, if at all those products are available? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Can I take another question so that I can take both at the same time?
Okay. So let's hear from Ismail then. Ismail, unmute and ask your question quickly. Ismail.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks to AFC for always organizing programs for us, and we really appreciate the facilitator, the speaker for today. My question is, he talked on interest financing, but for Muslims like us that won't take interest, are there finances that are tailored towards non-interest? non-interest financing. Are there those? If there are, what are they, and how can we access them? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess let me take these two quickly so that to give space for other ones.
Yes, yes, sir.
The first question was, are there specific products for the youth? Yes, there are specific products for the youth. A lot of banks also advertise those products. Now, for Union Bank, what we do is that for women-owned businesses, they enjoy like 2% off the interest rate. 2% off. So let's assume that the interest rate is 30%. For those women-led businesses, theirs will be 28%, and it comes under our program called the Alpha program. Alpha, the Alpha Woman, that's the scheme that we run. But a lot of other banks have similar products under different names for youth and the youthpreneurs. Then for Ismail's question, non-interest facilities. Yes, there are a lot of non-interest facilities. You have non-interest banks. You have Jais, you have Lotus, you have Taj. These banks provide non-interest banking. So non-interest banking has come to stay. I have a certification in non-interest banking too. So don't be scared. There are banks that provide those services, non-interest banking for you, and products that solve your problem without having to pay interest.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sure they got your questions. Let me go to the chat box. If you would like to unmute, put your hand up so that I can call you. But from the chat box, I'm seeing a question from Pierre in Mali. He's saying that he's asking how a PME, I don't know what PME is, in the
Yeah,
startup phase, can you really get a loan from the banks?
you
Because
can
it is very difficult.
at the startup
Yeah, so I
phase.
think what he's saying at the startup phase, what are their chances of getting loans from banks?
So the startup phase, getting loans from banks is pretty difficult. That's the truth. Now, scaling, your scale will determine what you will get. It's usually better to have a trial model, a proof of concept, which you can now use to look for loan. That's one way of accessing financing at startup stage. Then the other thing you can do at the startup stage is to work with venture capitalists. There are facilities. There are facilities that gives you guarantees which you can leverage. Some of those guarantees are not, SME. Okay, it says SME, not PME. Now, for SMEs that are startup stage, you have different entities. I talked about USAID, even though Trump has put a hold on what USAID is doing today. But you have the likes of Propcom 2. You have Propcom 2. You have UK Aid. The Netherlands, they have another fund. Those funds allow you have there's something they call the seed funding that you need. Now, this seed funding, and some of them could also be partial guarantees that which you can leverage to get financing. But for a commercial bank to fund startup, I don't think we're at that stage in Africa. That's the gospel truth. Because startup is your idea that hasn't been proven. And if it hasn't been proven, it might be difficult. Except if the startup you're talking about is aggregating farmers that are going to plant, and then let's take a commercial crop like maize, and then your harvest will go into the production by Nigerian flour mills. Yes, that funding, that kind of startup can be arranged. Though what you need is input. It's not actually money that you need. What you need is input to do the farming. There's already a market which the bank is seeing, and then it's a tripod. So you have the off-taker, you have the farmer, you have the bank, where the bank will fund that production and the off-taker will off-take and pay to liquidate the exposure. So that's the only way I think that startups can.
Okay, thank you very much. And then there's another one. Someone is asking about your packages. I believe he's referring to Union Bank's packages. He's asking if you do inputs and equipment financing. What
Yeah, we
package
do
do
all.
you have for
We do
customers?
we do all. We do all. But like I said, I put my contacts on the chat box. Always feel
Okay,
free to reach.
so Hussaini, reach out to Mr. Eze and he will guide you on how to access their products in the bank. I'm seeing one hand up. I'm believing that will
Yeah,
be the last question. Malgui, Ariel
Malvi,
Malgui, please
Ariel.
unmute and ask your question.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful session. I actually learned a lot and I've jotted a lot of things. I have
Thank
two
you.
questions, which one has already been answered, which Mr. Oseni asked, which I will try by all means to reach out to you. So the second question is like that. Would you actually encourage one to take loan from fintechs, bank, or maybe preferably the microfinance bank? And if so, which of the microfinance banks will you actually recommend? Most especially because for a person like me here in Maiduguri, northeast Nigeria, which of the microfinance bank will you actually recommend or to encourage one to take utility from?
So, Ariel, the truth about it is that at the startup stage, I really need to I will advise against taking loans. And then when
All
you're
right.
taking loan, you should be, try family and friends first. Try local cooperatives. It's
Okay.
usually cheaper. That's one. Secondly, when you're talking about loan, I need you to be able to sit down to look at what you are selling and what you are getting. So if your cost is 2 naira and you're selling 2 naira 50 kobo to remain in the market, and you're taking a loan you're paying interest on, the 50 kobo margin you're making, will it be enough to pay the interest on the money you have borrowed? That's usually key. We can
Yes.
actually do this risk assessment ourselves before you go to the bank to pitch your this thing. I've seen people that in a year, the total volume of business they have done is 30 million, and the loan request they have is 2 billion. I don't know how that, I'm just giving you an instance, and that
Yes,
does
yeah.
not tally at all, yes. So we must be able to look at what we are doing and look at the kind of expansion that we are looking at. Then we'll be in a better frame of mind to say that what we are trying to do will have the kind of meaning we want it to have. And then borrowing from fintechs is not cheap, borrowing from fintechs.
It's
Borrowing
true.
from microfinances is not cheap. A microfinance will charge you 4% per month. If you annualize it, that is 48% per annum versus what a commercial bank would charge you 30% per annum, which if you plan your fund utilization well, you only take the money when you need it. For the months you don't take the money, you don't pay any interest on it. But
Yeah.
once you take from microfinance or from a fintech, you must pay the money because you have their money. So I will not market any particular microfinance. You need to look at what you have in Maiduguri. And I think that it's still allowable for you to walk in and ask, what product do you have? There's somebody from South Sudan here. This is interesting. I can see somebody from South Sudan. So like I said, it's a function of you being able to dimension your business well and know what is coming into the business and then dimension what you need the money for. If you're looking at buying maize when the people within your community have harvested maize and maize is cheap, you can buy at 10,000 naira per bag. And you know that once the rains start, you can sell that bag for 18,000 naira. That's good business. There's a good margin on it. You can take the money. Yeah, you can take the money and make that investment and know that at the point when you offload and sell, the margin you're making will be enough to take care of your interest. Because already you're making close to 80% spread already. There's no interest that you pay that will be 80%. You understand?
Sure.
But for
Yes, sir.
for the bank that you will approach to give you the money, the question I will ask you is, who are you selling the maize to? If you tell me I have a supplier to Nigerian flour mills or to Crown flour mills, then I can start looking at you seriously because I know that there's a market. It's not a
Yeah.
question where you will tell me at the end when it's time to sell. Like some people will say, okay, let's go to the warehouse, the bank, you can deploy your staff there. Let's come and start selling. We're not meant to be selling. We're not meant to be selling maize or selling paddy. What we need to do is to understand that you have that value chain link, the input, my processing, the output. So if you understand your input, understand your processing, understand your output, it's a lot easier to sell.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very, very much, sir, for your patience and answering all our questions. And thank you everyone for participating. From the big, since we started the Agrifunding series in February, you'll notice that something has been consistent. You know, we started with bootstrapping, and then we moved all the way to preparing a business grant proposal, and then how to find an investor, how to build confidence, for your investor and all of that. And from all of these workshops, something has been consistent. Make sure you are starting from somewhere with your own sweat. That is when you can prove to anybody that your concept can work. Nobody will give you money if they don't believe in you. And believing in you is not how sweet you talk. Okay, believing in you is your ability to show your numbers. So, because from your own pocket and from family and friends, you've been able to raise 10,000 naira to do this business, and 10,000 naira yielded 20,000 naira within this period. And if you have additional 10,000 naira, this is the prospect for the business. If you are able to communicate your numbers well, whether to investors or to bankers, you would increase your chances of accessing these funding opportunities. So go back and do your work well. Put your books in order. Make sure it is something that anybody can relate to before accessing these opportunities. And this is not the end. Can we have the next slide? Let's have the next slide. I will let you know what we're having next month. If you have joined us today, it's not the end. Join us next month again and be consistent till the end of the year so that you are fully equipped with the knowledge and skills you need to access these funding opportunities. And if you need help, especially if you're in Nigeria, reach out to Mr. Eze. He will guide you on how to access these opportunities, especially from the Union Bank. So thank you very much, Mr. Eze, for your time today. Can we have the next slide, please, team member? Okay, so we usually have a group of photograph, and that means everybody needs to have their cameras on. Everybody needs to have their cameras on. So turn on your cameras. Let us take a group photograph. And don't just turn on your camera, smile for us as well, so that anyone that views it would know that you actually had a good session. And when you can also take a screenshot from your own end and you can post on social media. When we take this photograph, we'll post on our social media as well. And whenever you see it and identify yourself in the picture, make sure you share on your social media handle. So team members, please let us have the picture. Team members, are we good to go? Fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your cooperation this afternoon. So I've been seeing some question here if the recordings will be shared. Yes, the recordings will be shared after this session, and the slides will be shared as well so that you can go back and make references to it. And to watch our previous editions, visit our page, our channel on YouTube. You go to YouTube, you will see the Agrifunding series, everything that we had done throughout the year till date. You will see the videos. Just go to YouTube, type African Food Changemakers, our name will come out, and you see all the recordings from the previous editions, just so that you are up to date. And like I said, in July, we have another time again together. Same time, 3 p.m., Thursday, 31st of July, 2025. And this time we'll be talking about understanding terms and negotiations. When we have the opportunity to meet an investor, and the investor says, okay, I'm interested in your business, the next hardest thing now is negotiation. It is usually an issue. Agreeing on terms, agreeing on negotiations, placing yourself on a very comfortable place so that the investor doesn't end up taking over your company and all of that. So if you have ever struggled with this, this is an opportunity you need to take advantage of. Join us next month, 31st July 2025, understanding terms and negotiations. Understanding terms and negotiations, and we would have a corporate lawyer with us who will help us and tell us how to negotiate terms and about for our businesses to investors. Thank you everyone for attending. Please, as much as possible, if you have not been following us and you've been benefiting from my events, then you have not been doing us fine. Go and look for us. We are active on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on X, the Twitter that we all know. We are active on YouTube as well. Same name, African Food Changemakers. You will find us on any of these sessions. And I'm looking forward to welcoming you again. And if you have not joined our AFC community, this is an opportunity for you to join us so that even outside this session, we can always interact and share knowledge, share opportunities, collaborate, do businesses, and grow together. Until same time next month, July 31st, looking forward to meeting you again. I say all the best. I wish you all the best, prosperity in your business, good health of mind and body. Thank you for joining us, and have a good evening. Cheers.